Hammock camping, bug nets. If it's warm out, you gotta have them. So you saw my review of the Grand Trunk bug net, and I love it. Check out my review. I'll put a link in the description below. It's great for car camping or hanging out in the backyard, and I think it's great. But I did have one problem with it when backpacking. It is 1 pound and 10 ounces, and I stripped mine down. I changed out the cords to a lighter cord. I removed the little cord locks because they were pretty worthless anyway. I took the little spreader bar poles out of it, which are wonderful, but when you're backpacking, you're trying to cut weight. Even made a lighter storage bag for it. I mean, I just, you know, I downsized it a little bit, and the 1 pound 10 ounces is after I downsized it. I don't remember what it weighed before I downsized it. But that's heavy for one piece of gear. Ugh. So I wanted to do something lighter. So I bought something from Dutchware gear, and I'm gonna set it up. And it wasn't sold as something that you could use for a dog, but they did say in the description that it's possible for a dog. So I bought it, and we're gonna check it out. I should probably do a specific review on my Grand Trunk hammock, because as far as backpacking hammocks go, this thing is the best. Grand Trunk hammock. It's light. I love the way the material feels. It's lightweight. Just absolutely wonderful. To make it lighter though, they had carabiners on the ends. I took them out and I added Dutchware gear continuous loops. And I use a something like a Beckett hitch, or a J-bend they call it, or it's sort of like a Marlin spike hitch, and I just use a flat tree strap, just a flat one without loops, and tie it into here. I have that in a video somewhere. I'm not going to talk about that today. Today is just about the bug net. But since we're just in our backyard, I am going to use some lightweight Dutchware clips and my daisy chain, my big fat heavy daisy chain loops. So let me get this hammock set up, and then we'll unleash the net. Something else I'm doing new this year. From all my years of backpacking, well, camping, I should say, not backpacking. I just started that recently. But I've never used a Ridgeline on my hammock. Ridgeline for my tarp, obviously, yes. Ridgeline for my hammock, no. I did it once last year after watching a video about why you should, and so now I use one. I bought one from Dutchware gear. I got these little tiny clips. I don't know how these clips are going to work, because these clips are hard for my fat fingers to operate. I may have to go to something bigger. These are specifically for Ridgelines, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use them. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to hook this up too. I guess you can watch that. My neighbors are making noise. Okay, I'm glad I didn't record that, although maybe I should have to show you. Using those little tiny clips from Dutchware gear for the Ridgeline was, no. Getting it on was easy enough, but getting it off, oh my god, they're so tiny. And the cord, even when you go to the skinny part, let me show you this. So even going to the skinny part of the loop right here, getting that clip off, it's so small. I really don't want to go through it again, plus I can't hold the camera and do it, but you can see with how far this opens how hard it was getting it on and off this cord. It was like barely fit. So, you know, after hiking all day, there's no way I want to be dealing with that. So, yeah, these clips are a fail. Sorry, Dutchware gear, but these little tiny clips, too tiny. Fail, big fail. So what I did is I just put the continuous loop through this for now, and hoping I'm pulling on it pretty hard and it's not slipping. What I may end up doing is looping it through here on the inside, taking the loop off and putting it in here. You know, just taking this loop off and putting it in there so you don't lose the end of it. For right now, this is good. We're just testing. So for those of you that don't know, the ridge line for the hammock, as opposed to ridge line for the tarp, is supposed to create the perfect amount of sag in your hammock. You measure your hammock, and then the ridge line should be approximately 83% of that, according to the experts, more or less depending on your amount of comfort. Let me show you what it looks like. So, ridge line is so thin you can barely see it, but you see that sag. So no matter how high or low or how far apart, no matter what I do with the hammock, no matter whether I pull it really tight or really high or whatever, the amount of sag in the hammock stays the same and is supposed to be optimum. Maybe I'll sit in it and let's see. You guys want to watch me fall down? I don't think it's supposed to be that loose when I sit in it. I want to tighten it a little bit. But I did measure, it's supposed to be the perfect right. Oh yeah, I could stay here all day. I think that's about right. I think you're supposed to be able to do this to it when you're laying in it. Yep, that feels good to me. Just kidding. It's another nice thing in your hammock. If you got to change your shoes or your clothes or whatever, you can actually kind of lean on it a little bit. And you kind of steady yourself. Oh yeah, that feels like a good length on there. If I feel like I need to tighten or to loosen it, it's easy enough to do. But that felt good. Now we're gonna unfold the bug net. Okay. Let's see what we do here with this bug net. So this is Dutchware gears. I think they call it the bird's nest. And if this works out for the dog, it is going to save me a whole pound of weight. Not only a pound, but this is, when it's compressed up, is half the size of the Grand Trunk nest. Don't get me wrong, I love the Grand Trunk, but the bottom of it wasn't waterproof. This one, they said, is waterproof. We'll test that one out on the trail. But I put a piece of plastic under it anyway, just to keep it from getting dirty and full of snails or whatever. And looking for the perfect ground cloth, I made one out of copper fabric. It worked 99%, keeping the slugs away. It was not waterproof though. And they said that it was, the company, but it's not. Water just ran through it like crazy. And it was heavy and it was a little bulky. And you know, I wanted to buy, you know, like that nylon fume plastic that they use for pack liners for a ground cover, but boy, that's expensive. And in some video, I don't remember who I was watching, he said to use window film. You know, the stuff that you buy to put on your windows in the wintertime and you heat it with a blow dryer? And I went, oh my goodness, that's incredible. I went and I got a piece. I'm telling you what, that stuff works great. It's lightweight, it's cheap. And I sat there with that stick in my fingernail trying to poke a hole through it and couldn't. So you want a lightweight, cheap, waterproof ground cover for under your tent, under your hammock, whatever. Window film from the hardware store. Oh, way to go. But let's check out this bug net. So the purpose of this bug net was to be a bug net for 2 hammocks that are in tandem. So you would have 2 hammocks hung on the same straps and just separated by a spreader bar. And rather than use 2 separate bug nets, you can't hold hands. This one here is supposed to go around both hammocks. So you and your buddy can hold hands if you want to. My idea though is putting it only over one hammock should give me enough extra material that it will lay on the ground for the dog to lay it on. So, because even in their description they said, you know, maybe for a dog, but then they said it was like a 5-pound limit, weight limit or something like that. You know, who's taking a 5-pound dog out backpacking? But whatever. Well, maybe some people are, but I'm not. And my dog's 25 pounds. So let's see if I can get this. I don't know if that worked or not. But, so, I guess there should be some kind of a loop down here that will hold it in place. And keep it from sliding down like it did. I don't see anything like that. There is a little piece of cord with a little shock cord on it that I just attached to the carabiner. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do with it or not. I don't know if it's supposed to attach to the carabiner, or maybe I can use those little clips to attach it to the continuous loop. I don't know. The other thing that I was thinking of why this would be good is because right now my bug net is so bulky that I have to put it on the outside of my pack. But with this one being half the size, and because the way it sets up, see the grand trunk, you actually have to attach to a tree. So you attach your tarp, and then you attach your bug net, and then you attach your hammock. It's 3 things you're putting up. With the way this one works, you can put it on the hammock and leave it on the hammock, and when you take it all down, just pack it all together. I maybe wouldn't do that if it got wet and dirty, because I wouldn't want my hammock to get wet and dirty. But if it stays clean and dry, I just pack it all together. But I do like it that it's so small, it can go in my pack. So if you see over there, right here, let's see if I can show you this. So it slipped down off the hammock. So there has to be a way to attach it up here. See how it just slid down? You have to attach it up here so it stays up and your hammock stays covered. But there's no loop or anything. But there is this little bit of shock cord here. I don't know if I should attach it to the loop or to the carabiner. For right now, I'm just attaching it to the carabiner because, you know, I may end up getting a little tiny carabiner. Not those little itty bitty ones, but like a regular size small carabiner, lightweight, just to attach it to the continuous loop maybe. I don't know. Let's see how it works attaching it to the big carabiner. I like this one too because it's got zippers on both sides rather than just one side. So just from looking at this. I think this will work out. I don't know if you guys can see me, but it's on the ground, which means the dog can get in it. This is gonna work great. Yeah, this is gonna work good. I mean, it's on my head, which is kind of a bummer sitting in it. But the dog can come inside and be out of the away from the bugs. This is cool. I'm gonna lay in it. Oh yeah. So I think if I tighten my ridgeline a little bit, that's gonna help. I might lift this up a little. Yeah. Yep. Would like to lift this up a little bit, get it up off my head. Let's see what we can do about that. Okay, so the difference between this and the Grand Trunk. The Grand Trunk, because it attaches to the tree by itself, you can lift it up a lot higher and get it up off your head. With this one, it was laying on my head, laying on my face. I might be able to tweak that a little bit with lengthening or maybe shortening the ridgeline, but I like where the ridgeline is at. It feels comfortable. So what I ended up doing, let me show you. I ended up lengthening my ridgeline just a little bit and put it right on the carabiner. So we got the continuous loop for the hammock, the ridgeline for the hammock, and then the loop for the bug net. And I lengthened it just a little tiny bit to make up for the length of the continuous loops being added. And then it worked a lot better. The sag was still good. I laid in the hammock, the sag still felt good, maybe even a little bit better. And it lifted the net up off my head. I could sit without it hitting me in the head. Still hit me in the face a little bit, but that's okay. And laying down, it was still good. So car camping, the Grand Trunk will come, but backpacking, this one will come because it's a pound lighter and half the size when compressed. So pros and cons to both. I like them both. But I really love the fact that this one takes a full pound off my backpacking weight. That's amazing. I'm gonna have to figure out though what to do down here because I don't want the I don't want to use the carabiners when I go backpacking because I don't use these straps. I just use a flat strap and tie a knot. So it's gonna take some playing around with measurements to see how I can get it better. But as far as the review, I think the Dutchware Bird's Nest is good if you're going to bring a dog with you.